Imagine a world where the very things we consume, the clothes we wear, and the entertainment we seek are built upon a foundation of silent suffering. What if the stories we've been told about animal welfare, the glossy advertisements and reassuring labels are nothing more than a carefully constructed veil, hiding a truth so disturbing it could fundamentally alter your perception of reality? What if the institutions we trust implicitly to protect these creatures are, in fact, complicit in a systemic tragedy? Every day, billions of animals vanish into a void of exploitation, their existence reduced to a commodity, their cries unheard. The question isn't just, are animals suffering, but what exactly are we being prevented from knowing about their fate? To truly grasp this unsettling reality, we need to peel back the layers of societal norms and deep-rooted industries. For centuries, our relationship with animals has been complex, ranging from companionship to utility. But somewhere along the line, something shifted dramatically. The Industrial Revolution didn't just change how we made goods, it transformed how we viewed living beings. Animals, once part of a farm ecosystem, became units of production. The sheer scale of modern animal exploitation is staggering, almost incomprehensible. We're talking about an industry that processes tens of billions of land animals globally each year, not to mention countless marine creatures. We've become accustomed to the convenience, the accessibility, the low cost, but at what price? The narrative we're fed is one of humane treatment, sustainable practices, and necessary protein. But delve just a little deeper, and the cracks in this perfect facade begin to show. The very language used to describe animal products like cage-free or free-range often hides a far grimmer reality than the idyllic images these terms evoke. It's a deliberate obfuscation, a marketing masterpiece designed to soothe our consciences without ever having to confront the truth. This isn't just about individual cruel acts, but about a systematic dehumanization, or perhaps de-animalization, that has woven itself into the fabric of our global economy. Now let's talk specifics, because abstract numbers don't convey the true horror. Take, for instance, the term factory farm. It conjures images of cramped, unsanitary conditions, and while that's often true, the sheer technological sophistication of these facilities is equally chilling. Animals are bred for extreme growth rates, often leading to skeletal problems and organ failure before they even reach maturity. Broiler chickens, for example, are now grown to slaughter weight in a fraction of the time it took decades ago, resulting in massive cardiovascular strain and lameness. Many can barely stand by the end of their short lives. And the cage-free claims for egg-laying hens? While they might not be in cages, they're often crammed by the tens of thousands into enormous sheds, with disease rampant, limited access to sunlight, and still subjected to practices like beak trimming without anesthetic. Consider the fur industry, which, despite growing ethical awareness, still thrives in many parts of the world. Animals like mink and foxes spend their entire lives in small wire cages, typically just large enough for them to turn around. Their natural behaviors, like digging, swimming, or foraging, are completely suppressed, leading to severe psychological distress, self-mutilation, and cannibalism among starved or stressed animals. The methods of killing, electrocution, gassing, neck breaking, are often chosen for their efficiency in preserving the pelts, not for minimizing suffering. The public perceives these practices as medieval, yet they persist under the radar. Even more insidious is the world of animal testing. Think about how many products in your home are tested on animals. It's not just cosmetics, though that's a huge part. Pharmaceutical drugs, cleaning products, industrial chemicals all rely on painful, often lethal experiments on mice, rats, rabbits, guinea pigs, and even larger animals like dogs and primates. For example, the Dre's eye test involves dripping chemicals into a rabbit's eye and monitoring for irritation for days or weeks, often without pain relief, while the animal's eyelids are clamped open. The LD50 test involves force-feeding chemicals to animals until 50% of them die to determine a lethal dose. These procedures are often not only cruel but also scientifically questionable, with results frequently not translating to humans. The industry actively lobbies against legislation that would promote alternative testing methods, citing cost or necessity, creating a fortress of secrecy around their operations. Ag-gag laws in several U.S. states are a perfect example. They criminalize whistleblowing or photographing activities inside agricultural facilities, effectively silencing activists and preventing the public from seeing what happens behind closed doors. This isn't about protecting privacy, it's about concealing systemic cruelty and preventing transparency. The implications are profound. If you cannot document it, you cannot expose it. If you cannot expose it, you cannot challenge it. The industries know that if the truth were widely known, consumer behavior would shift dramatically, and that's a risk they're unwilling to take. They bank on our ignorance, our busy lives, and the reassuring narratives they meticulously craft. They hide behind complicated supply chains, obscure legal frameworks, and the sheer volume of their operations, making it incredibly difficult for anyone to piece together the full picture. What they discovered next changed everything. The convergence of legal loopholes, powerful corporate lobbying, and carefully cultivated public ignorance creates a perfect storm where unimaginable suffering can occur with impunity. Consider the downer cows, animals too weak or sick to stand and walk, often due to injury, disease, or extreme overbreeding. Legally, these animals are usually prohibited from entering the food supply due to health concerns, but secretly, investigators have uncovered instances where workers use forklifts or chains to drag these sentient beings to slaughter, often exacerbating their injuries. The fear in their eyes, the sounds of their distressed moans, these are not isolated incidents but symptoms of a system that views living beings as disposable machinery. The sheer economic pressure to maintain production quotas means that individual animal welfare often becomes an afterthought, secondary to profit margins. And the psychological toll on the workers involved in these industries? It's often ignored, but many suffer from high rates of PTSD, depression, and even perpetrate domestic violence, a stark reflection of the brutalization they are forced to inflict daily. This isn't just about animals, it's about the dehumanizing effect of a system built on exploitation. Think about the language used: culling, processing, harvesting. These are not neutral terms. They are designed to depersonalize, to distance us emotionally from the fact that we are talking about living, breathing, feeling beings. The biggest secret they keep isn't just what they do, but how effectively they've made us okay with it. They've convinced us that these animals exist solely for our convenience, our taste buds, our fashion trends. They've crafted a narrative that positions animal exploitation as a necessary evil, an unavoidable part of human existence, rather than a choice driven by economics and habit. This psychological manipulation, this subtle reframing of reality, is perhaps the most shocking revelation of all. We're not just consuming products, we're consuming a carefully constructed illusion. To this day, we may never fully grasp the true extent of the suffering hidden behind closed doors, obscured by a labyrinth of industry secrets and legislative blind spots. But the truth, however uncomfortable, is a powerful catalyst. Every choice we make, from the food on our plate to the products in our homes, holds a ripple effect. This isn't about guilt-tripping, it's about informed awareness. It's about recognizing the agency we possess as consumers to demand transparency, to question the labels, and to support alternatives that align with a more compassionate world. The systems in place thrive on our ignorance and our collective inaction, but by simply asking, "What exactly don't they want me to know?" we begin to dismantle the illusion. We begin to open our eyes to the silent crisis unfolding daily, and in that awakening lies the profound potential for change. The next time you see a seemingly perfect image of an animal product, remember the unseen story behind it. If you want more mysteries like this, the next video explores the chilling experiments conducted during the Cold War that reshaped our understanding of the human mind.